The movie starts with two close pals, the strict Katie and the adventurous Sloane, excited about their upcoming trip out of town. They're heading to eco-field organic farms to work for a month and save money for a shopping spree in New York City. Next morning, Katie's uncle, Jason, a cop, picks them up. They'll crash at his and his girlfriend's place for a night before heading to the farm. While settling in, Sloane suggests they use fake names during their stay. She picks Heather, and Katie goes with Ripley. The next day, Uncle Jason drops them at the station for their bus to the farm. Being the protective cop, Jason advises them to have a safety word in case of trouble. They agree to use a code word at the end of each text. Jason wants Katie to send him a different code word every day in alphabetical order. Today's code word is apple. Once the uncle departs, the duo still must wait for the bus, due to arrive in about an hour, so they opt to hang out at the cafe. They catch the attention of two locals and end up sharing a table with them. Using the fake names they came up with the night before, the women introduce themselves, while the men, who call themselves Jed and Lucas, introduce themselves as brothers. The brothers offer them a ride to work. Initially hesitant, Katie agrees after Sloane's silent urging. They hop into the young men's blue truck. However, things take an unexpected turn. Jed purposely drives past the farm where Katie and Sloane work, leaving the women bewildered. Finally, they reach their destination. Jed and Lucas' shady mother welcomes them in, suggesting they have some tea before heading to the farm. Inside, Katie gets a text from her cop uncle. Using their secret words, she assures him they're safe. As they munch on pie and sip tea, they feel uneasy but drink it anyway. Their vision blurs. Turns out there's something in the drinks. They realize they've been drugged and bolt for safety. Unfortunately, Jed and Lucas catch them, rendering them unconscious and hauling them back inside. The next day, Katie and Sloane find themselves in a panic, chained up in the forest. Jed approaches them, informing that they'll be living there now, providing basic necessities like clothes, a bed, and a toilet. In the following scene, Katie and Sloane are dressed, and Jed's boss, Boris, arrives. He checks Katie's phone to see if anyone's onto them. He uncovers their lies about their identities and the code word in Katie's text. They confess that apple is their safety word. Once things settle, Katie and Sloane prepare to shower using makeshift facilities when the sheriff arrives, gun drawn. He's a scumbag who's okay with human trafficking and intends to assault one of them. After the ordeal, Sloane comforts a shaken Katie. Meanwhile, Uncle Jason grows concerned upon receiving a text with the same safety word from Katie. Back in the woods, Jed and Lucas greet another visitor, dubbed Scruffy Guy from now on. He chooses Sloane and takes her into the trailer. Not surprisingly, he's a bit unhinged. The cop uncle finally calls Sloane and Katie's workplace, only to find out they didn't show up yesterday. Worried, he rushes to find them. Meanwhile, Sloane and Katie face a sketchy customer. They hide as the customer approaches. The guy in the pig mask grabs Sloane and takes her away. After he leaves, Katie comforts the shaken Sloane. We're left wondering what happened to Sloane as she seems more traumatized than before. Next, Uncle Jason arrives at the sheriff's office and meets the creepy sheriff we saw earlier. Surprise! The uncle is an FBI agent. He expresses concern, believing his niece is kidnapped. To add spice, he tells the sheriff they're in trouble because Katie didn't use a new code word in her last text. Meanwhile, the sheriff tips off the kidnappers about Katie's uncle being FBI and Katie lying about the safe word. Not wanting FBI snooping around, the boss orders Jeff to kill them and hide the bodies. Little do they know, Katie overhears. The FBI uncle decides to check the cafe where he last saw Katie and Sloane, asking the barista for info. The barista vividly recalls the truck they left in. The following day, Katie warns Sloane that the abductors intend to murder them, just before they show up with a rough-looking dude. Leaving him as a guard, Katie uses her charm to distract him, then swiftly attacks, tearing his throat with her teeth. With him out of the way, they break free from their chains. Soon after, the sheriff arrives, likely to harm them, but Katie and Sloane swipe his car just in time. They speed back to town, heading straight to the hardware store to arm themselves. Things are getting intense now. They ask the cashier about Boris, the guy with the blue truck, and he knows where he lives. Meanwhile, Uncle Jason continues his sleuthing, checking out the town's auto insurance office. He spins a tale about a fender bender with a blue truck and inquires about its owner. Boris, the big boss, makes it home, only to be ambushed by Katie and Sloane, who pelt him with spiked tennis balls, causing severe injuries. Now in a tight spot, Boris begs for mercy, even offering money to spare his life. Just then, Uncle Jason pulls up outside Boris's place. Inside, Katie and Sloane interrogate him about the man in the pig mask. When Boris refuses to spill the beans, Katie and Sloane use a makeshift spear to fatally wound him. By the time Uncle Jason enters the scene, Katie and Sloane have vanished, leaving behind a dying Boris. Hearing the rumble of engines, Jason rushes outside. Katie and Sloane speed away, while Uncle Jason races Boris to the hospital. In the following scene, the sheriff tells Uncle Jason that Boris didn't survive. Uncle Jason, now more anxious, tries calling Katie's phone, but then the sheriff realizes he's busted and pulls out his gun. Katie and Sloane arrive at a church, where they discover that the guy in the pig mask is the town's priest. Sloane confronts her attacker inside the church. With Katie's assistance, the two friends defeat the culprit. As they drive off, Katie and Sloane appear satisfied and relieved. However, when they stop and get out of the car, they find the priest, still in his pig mask, chained behind the truck. As a final act of revenge, they douse him in gasoline and set him on fire before leaving. While Katie and Sloane seem to be doing well, the sheriff has captured Uncle Jason. To make matters worse, it seems the sheriff has caught two more young women. Fortunately, Katie and Sloane arrive just in time. They restrain the sheriff and play a dangerous game of Russian roulette with him. It's clear now that the two women are a bit unhinged, but who can blame them? As the sheriff apologizes, Katie delivers the final blow, ending his life with a strike to the head. Later, Katie and Sloane release the women and instruct them to release Uncle Jason. Jason tries to question them about the sheriff's killer, but they remain silent as they're grateful to Katie and Sloane for saving them. Then, Katie and Sloane head to Jed and Lucas' mom's place with a plan to drug her like she did to them. They restrain her, take her to the basement where Jed is tied up. With baseball bats, they fatally strike Jed while forcing his mom to witness. Next, they confront Lucas, also tied up. Instead of killing him, they give him a bat and coerce him to beat his own mother. Refusing, Lucas is shot dead by them. They stage his death to appear like a suicide, planning to frame him for all the killings. Desperate, the mother offers them money to spare her life. But Katie viciously kills her with a lawn mower instead. In the next scene, Uncle Jason arrives at Katie's place to pick her and Sloane. Time has passed, and they're dropped off at the airport, eagerly heading to New York City. Turn on alerts, like, and subscribe for more videos similar to this one. Thank you for watching.